Mr. Hunt. How are you, sir?
Oh, well, I thought you were talking about Malachi Smith when you were like man of the hour, beautiful. I was like, Malachi, I agree
Malachi has it, dude.
1,000%.
And that would have been a fair assessment. And I would absolutely agree with you 100%. So Malachi is handsome. This is something I like to ask every once in a while, too, just because it's fun. So you can see other guys on the call. Who would you fight, Mick? If I say, hey, Mick, we're fighting right now, who would you fight? Like, who would you fight on this call? Pick anybody. Uh,
I'm going with Charlie Warner. Let's go, Charlie.
Charlie is on. It is on. Wow, looks like he's down, too. Oh, it's
That's
awesome.
right.
Hey, man, thank you. And I know you're just fresh off a flight too. And man, like those delays, it can really just suck the energy right out of you too. So I'm so appreciative of you. Just saying, hey man, here's a heads up, and I'll still be there. It matters, man. I appreciate it.
Hey, I appreciate you. And it's those things, right? Like one of my mentors, Damon John, says there's two things we can control in life: the lens of which we look out of
Mm.
and the actions that we take. And when you understand that things happen out of your control and
Mm.
there's literally not one thing you can do about it, you can't be upset, man. It's just,
It
I'm here, I'm healthy. What more
life,
could I ask for?
that's right. Life is good. At that point, life is good. Man, I get it. I love it,
Those
man.
my dog.
There was up, gents. Let's make sure we're muted up over there too. Um, yeah, coming off of a career, I traveled and spoke quite a bit, and 200 plus flights a year. You learn that the delays are a thing, and you learn that you better take that mentality, or you're going to be a very
Right.
angry individual.
That's right.
Not going to, and it's funny, man. You mentioned Damon too, so he won't remember this, but he gave a shout out to one of the campuses that I was billed in. And we were having a business fair. We had a bunch of young bucks that were coming in and making, a couple of hundred, couple thousand, $10,000 on a weekend at a business fair. And he gave us a big shout out there. So I saw, yeah, Damon. I saw you rolling with some OGs like Rick Barry and Kenny Anderson from back in the
Yeah.
day. I
Yeah.
remember watching Kenny with Georgia Tech and
Yeah.
playing for the Nets. So yeah, rolling with some good folks and Mr. Les Brown too, who is obviously a legend. So got good company, sir.
There
Good
you
company.
go. I appreciate it.
Yeah, man. So we want to talk about you today. I want to talk about you. I want to talk about what you're doing, what you're building, what you're excited about.
Okay.
These guys and some of our dads will come in on the back end of the hour and do a little Q&A too. But man, I love everything that you are about. I'm so glad I got introduced to you and your work. And I want to start, if you don't mind, man. Who is young Mick? I want to start there first because you and I both know Mick the adult. Matt the adult, nobody would have guessed it as the Young Bucks, right? And
Yeah.
so there is
Yeah.
a journey that's there that the dots always make sense when you look backwards, but it doesn't necessarily line up forwards. So
Yeah.
who was young Mick? Where was this guy growing up? What was he all about?
Man, I'm glad you asked that, Matt. I'm a guy today that's still the 10-year-old that made a promise to his mom to somehow show her a better life. And so the 10-year-old me, I always go back to a moment I'll never forget. It's a Saturday. And I know a lot of us Saturdays are great memories, right? Like Saturday morning, hanging out with your friends, shooting hoops, some of you playing video games, whatever it is. Well, this particular Saturday for me, I woke up with my mom crying at the edge of the bed, right? Pain in her eyes, despair in her face. And I knew what those tears meant. I knew what the expression of her face meant. Growing up the first 10 years of my life, it wasn't uncommon for me to witness my mom go through financial, emotional, physical abuse from my dad. Like I would almost say every day, and I wouldn't be exaggerating if I did that. And this day I just about had enough. I'm 10 years old, right? All of us have been 10 years old or are 10 years old at some point. I knew there was nothing I could physically do, but I knew that I needed to change the course of path for my mom, for my sister, and for the legacy of our family, right? And I want all of us to understand and know this. When you see things that look uncommon, don't make them normal.
Mm,
Right. And so at 10 years old, I knew that the abuse and everything that my mom was going through wasn't normal, and I didn't accept it as normal. And so the 10-year-old me, the kid, was very focused. um, very, very challenged to make a difference because change wasn't something that I needed. Change was something that I must have at that point. So I want you all to write that down. What's something that you must have right now? Not something you need, not something you desire. What's something that you must have? And that becomes what I call your because.
Mm,
Like it's deeper than your why. It's your reason, it's your purpose. And your because is what shapes who you are. It shapes the decisions that you make. And ultimately, it's going to shape the course of your life. And so my because at 10 years old was a promise that I made my mom. And
ah,
that's led me to who I am today. Every decision that I made when I look back was to change the course and to prevent a curse, right? I didn't want abuse to be normal. I didn't want suffering to be a thing. And again, I was 10. I knew there wasn't much I could do, but I knew that the decision making that I could have and the path that I wanted to create had to start that day. And you're never too young to put together a blueprint for your life,
mm,
right? You're never too old to say the buck stops here
right.
because someone's always watching you, someone's always depending on you, and you don't have to own a business, you don't need to have a C-suite title to be a leader.
Mm.
You should be a leader right now. You're a leader in your household, you're a leader in your community, you're a leader in your friend circle, whatever it is, be the leader.
Oh, so good. And you can make that the normal. I love what you said there. You don't have to accept that as normal.
Right.
And it's verbiage that I use with a lot of our men and women too. And we have a home education crew. And we have guys that are, guys and gals that are leading these educational campuses around the world. And one of the things that we try to convey is you make normal what you make normal, what you accept as normal.
Yeah.
You get to decide that. So if
Yeah.
something is not working, something is dysfunctional, something is not producing, the outcome, it's not attaching to that because of yours, well, then it no longer has to be the normal. You can decide to change that and pick a new normal.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, I love that so much. So at 10, having that realization, and you said never too young to start creating that blueprint, and you had that realization, look, I gotta build something better. I gotta create a new normal here. I gotta help mom. It's not gonna be something I can do physically right now, but I gotta start laying that out. What did
Mhm.
that look like for like teenage Mick? Was it I was focused on school and sports? Was it I was like,
Yeah.
what was that? What did that look like for you?
Yeah. So, growing up, and it wasn't a financial thing, right? Like I grew up in a two-parent household in a pretty nice home. So it wasn't like, there was suffering.
Yeah.
What did that look like for 10-year-old Mick? I knew that in order to change the course of the legacy I wanted to create and to change my mom, I had to do one of three things, Matt, right? I had to be the best athlete on the sports teams, or I had to be the smartest kid in class, right? Or I had to beat people up.
That's right. That's
Like, it was going to be one of those three. I chose
yeah.
one and two. I chose working my butt off to be the best athlete in my school and being the smartest kid in my school, like making straight A's and that because I knew the only way that I could guarantee that I went to college
Mm.
was to have a scholarship, right?
Yep.
That's what I knew at the time. And so again, very determined. And what that did for me as a teenager was look at my circle of friends, right?
Mm,
Do they have the same goals, visions, mindset that I have?
mm,
Because we all know people that made bad decisions. And I'm not saying that you're always going to make the right decision, right? Or that you're always going to make the best decision. But we definitely know bad choices when we see them. And so I eliminated people that I could see were making bad choices. I eliminated people in my circle who didn't have the same drive and passion that I had because we all know the same, right? Show me your five closest friends and I'll show you who you are. I say it a little bit different. Show me the five closest people to you and I'll show you your future.
that's right.
And so I, I was really keen on who am I around, and because of the situation within my household, I wasn't the kid that would hang out late at night or go places on the weekend because I was protecting my mom.
Mm,
Teenager me was stronger, right? Was physically able to handle my own. And so I protected my mom. And so I was a proud mama's boy,
Yeah.
right? And I was just determined to be the smartest person or to be the best athlete so that I could secure a scholarship to fulfill that promise that I made at 10.
So good, man. Where were you? Where'd you grow up?
Greenville, South Carolina.
Is that okay? All right. Are you in South Carolina still?
So I just moved back home. Yeah. So I was
Yeah.
in
Okay.
North Carolina. So I'm a Tar Heel. I'm a UNC
Okay.
Tar Heel through and through.
All
But yeah,
right.
so I just moved back home in June.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, dude, we're not that far away. So I'm born and raised California, but we moved out to Western North Carolina almost 3 years ago. So we're not that far. We're close
Where
to
in Western North
Asheville.
Carolina?
We're close to Asheville-ish, kind of more near like Brevard, kind of
My
in that.
best friend lives in Brevard.
Oh,
So my wife and I
come
go to
on.
Grove Park Inn 3 times a year.
Come
My
on.
best friend's in Brevard.
Come
So
on.
just up the mountain, right? Like just up
Yeah,
the
man.
mountain. We're
All
there.
right. Well, then you got a standing invite to the farm out here, sir. So, I mean, you are,
Invite accepted.
yeah, let's do this. Oh, that's
Yeah.
rad, man. How cool.
Yeah. And
I
we're
love
in
it.
California. We have too many connections. Where in California from?
So I grew up in the Bay Area, and my wife did as well. And then we ended up living in the Sacramento area for a little bit. All right, talk to me about the Bay. Give me.
My wife is from Walnut Creek.
Shut your mouth.
So my one of my favorite restaurants in the world is in Walnut Creek.
Come
And then
on.
my daughter-in-law lives in Vacaville.
Dude, okay. So I'm going to take this opportunity right now. So, gentlemen, I don't care if you guys don't know any place that we're talking about right now, because this is my new friend Mick Hunt, and we're going to talk about this. So let's talk about this. My
Yeah.
wife grew up in Fremont, so I know Walnut Creek extraordinarily well. And actually, we both worked at Stanford for a while. We lived in that East Bay area
Yeah.
for quite a while.
Yeah.
I was born in Vallejo, but I grew up in and lived in Vacaville until I moved out at 17 years of age. I'm a graduate of
Wow.
Vacaville High School. So that is,
Wow.
yeah, man. So that is,
Okay.
yeah, that's a small world, man.
Yeah. So my daughter-in-law's former Air Force. So
Out of
Travis
Travis
right there. So
Airport.
that's where she's at. Yeah.
Right. Man, oh man, come on. All right. I love it, man. That's a small world right there.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, all right, we'll have to get together, but I'll get back to let's
Sorry.
get.
Sorry for the sidetrack.
Oh man, that's so good. So good. I love hearing stuff like that. Man, real quick sidetrack. So I was in Detroit last weekend, or not this past weekend, but the weekend before, just in for a quick event, real and a charity event. Speaking at this art gallery, got to see a handful of the guys that are on this call here. And one of the people that was there who lives in Detroit comes up and says, "Hey man, where are you from?" "Oh, California." My brother-in-law, my ex-brother-in-law, grew up in a town called Vacaville. You probably have no idea who. And I graduated high school with the dude too. So it is,
Wow.
gentlemen. It's always a small world, and
Yeah.
and and I'll tell you, that's just again treat people right all the time because you never know when that's going to come back around.
Amen to that.
Never know when that's going to come back around.
Yeah.
So, one of the things you said there around the friends too, I love what you said that it shows you your future. It's not just who you are right now and how much that, yes, but it shows you your future. I think it's so important, especially for these young men, to realize how much that illuminates where you're going too. My brother sent me a clip last night, and it was Alex Hormozy saying roughly the same sort of deal. And he's like, "This guy seems a little bit like a sociopath." And I'm like, "No, no. I was with Alex a couple weeks ago, one of the smartest humans I know, and he's very
Yeah.
intentional on
Yeah.
who he's around and who he's not because it does impact the future."
That's right.
Right? Like that is it, man. So let's fast forward a little because you made those decisions. You picked options one and two out of those three.
Yeah.
You take off, and so it was the college route.
Yeah. University of
Okay,
North Carolina.
okay, so yeah, he's a Tar Heel through and through.
All
So
day
Tar
long.
Heel,
All day.
and so then talk to us about the now I'm a Tar Heel grad and kind of to where you are now with what you're doing now. And I know that's a big trajectory, but I want to
Yeah.
walk these guys through that before they ask questions because I'm assuming that throughout that journey, there probably is a promise kept to mom. And there
Mhm.
probably becomes a transition to another because or a series of new becauses,
Exactly.
right? And so I'd
Exactly.
like to walk through that a little bit and then
Yeah.
get Mick Factor, and then we'll open it up to these guys.
Yeah, absolutely. So graduate from the University of North Carolina. And I realized that business was the way to go, right? But at 22, can't start a business at that time in the year 2000, right? Like it's not like it is today where you have access to anything and you can start a business right there. Like the internet was very new. I know a lot of you are like, the internet's always been around. I promise you, it hasn't always been
Right.
around.
That's right.
Social media to me seems like it started like 2 weeks ago, right?
That's
Like that's how new all of this stuff is to old folks like myself, right? But I started working as a sales manager for an insurance agent who had dreams of being the biggest, baddest insurance agent in the world. And for 6.5, 7 years, I helped that dream of his come true. Right. We literally had the largest nationwide insurance agency in the United States. But what I realized was I was helping someone build and live their dream. And again, every day I go back to the promise that I made my mom, and I was able to take care of my mom, right? So that provided me a great path, great trajectory. And now when we talk about your because changing, now I have kids,
Mhm.
right? And I've always been entrepreneurial. I've always had a business mind. And so at 27, 28, I decided to start my own business. And life was game changing for me. All the things that I helped someone else live their dream, I was able to put those things in place for me. Really focused on, we'll talk about the Mick Factor in a minute, but what my core pillars are. And I built a business that in 3 years I was able to sell for over $15 million, right? So at 31, I sold a business for $15 million. I then go lead and head up another business that I grew to $70 million in 4 years. And I said, okay, I want to help other people do this. Growing and scaling doesn't have to be hard. Being a good leader doesn't have to be challenging when you do the right things. And so, again, my because is my kids and providing the right example for them. My because is the teams that I lead and showing them what a good leader looks like and developing other good leaders. When people ask me what am I proud of today, I'm proud of my kids and I'm proud of the leaders that I've created out in the world. Like nothing brings me more joy than seeing the person that started with me as a mentee that is now mentoring other people and leading other organizations or leading other people, leading communities. And that's just because, again, I always go back to the promises that I make and keep. And to me, that's what life is. Making a promise holds you accountable. Keeping it shows your character. All right. And so that's what life is.
Gentlemen, did we not start this call before Mr. Hunt was here saying that exact same thing? That's
Wow.
exactly what we were talking about. We were talking about men with good intentions will make those promises, but it is the
Yeah.
men with character that will keep those promises. It's
Yeah.
what we were saying prior to, I love that so dang much, man. And the leadership part of that, good leaders are worried about creating more good leaders, not getting more followers. That's a different
No,
mentality.
that's the thing, right? It's because in why my passion today is leadership,
Mm,
right? It's because I just don't think we have enough good leaders.
mm,
And when I say that, I mean you ask my kids who are in their 20s, and I know that we have a lot of young folks here. If I were to say, name the three best leaders that you know what you're probably going to give me? Social media influencers,
mm,
right? You're going to give me popular people. And I'm not saying that those people aren't good leaders,
mm,
but I grew up in a generation where you saw leadership, you
mm,
understood a leader,
mm.
right? And now people are more focused on being popular or
Right.
being great than they are being good. And
That's
to
right.
me, being great is just consistently being good. Like I don't have to tell anyone I'm great at anything. I just focus on consistently being good.
Mm.
But we have people, and I'm not even saying age, it doesn't
Sure.
matter the age band,
Sure.
that just it's great, great, great. Well, you don't know how to be good.
Yeah.
And like the difference between good and great isn't this. There's a huge gap between good and great,
Yeah.
right? So just focus on being good first. And when you can, it's like winning, right? Like I'm a sports guy too. You're not a winner until you consistently win.
Mm.
Right?
That's right.
You got to win first before you can put the ER at the end of it. You can't do that. You can't be a winning person until you learn how to win one time, right? And so you can't be great until you've really, really, really been good. And being good isn't hard. And
Right.
so that's what I focus on, developing good leaders who are going to make the right decisions, be very transparent with their vision, have core pillars in their life, all
Mm.
the things that the Mick Factor embodies. Like that's what being a good leader is.
And doing that consistently, man. That is it. And that's where the greatness starts to come from. It's good over the long haul, good over the long period of time before greatness is even a possibility.
Yeah.
Oh man, that's I love that. And I think you're right on that leadership side. We we as a species, but it's exacerbated with social media. We tend to confuse what's popular and what's familiar with what is true or right or what
Right.
leadership is, right? It's because it's popular or because it's familiar, and we confuse the two.
Yeah.
And and that's a dangerous spot. So you obviously you've won a number of times here. You're talking about winning. You start that business at 28. At 31, you're able to sell it for 15 million. You're able to go on and create another that you raise up to 70 million dollars. That transition at 28, the mindset of being able to go ahead and go take the leap. I'm interested in saying what, because there are so many people who talk about, oh, someday I'm gonna. You
Yeah.
decided to do it.
Yeah.
So, like, where does that mindset come from, and how did you decide what you wanted to do?
Yeah. And I'm glad that you asked that because that can literally go into the Mick factor, right? So my initials MICK. It wasn't me. Les Brown's my mentor. Like
Yeah,
you
yeah,
talked
yeah.
about earlier. He came up with that, but it really is the pillars of what I did. And so the M is the first thing. Master something.
Mm,
And and what I tell people is find something that you love
mm,
and master it, right?
mm,
Because that's the important piece. You're never going to be the best version of you. You're not going to be good until you are very passionate about something and
mm,
then master that thing, right? Like if you've heard me speak before, you've heard me say this, right? One of Bruce Lee's most favorite quotes that I love and I go back to all the time is, I fear not the man that practices over 10,000 kicks. I fear the man that practices one kick 10,000 times. And
mm,
that's mastery, right?
mm,
So literally for me to take that leap of faith, I mastered providing solutions. And,
mhm,
and, and I say that a lot of people say problem solving. No, because if you are a great problem solver, that means you're always looking at problems to solve. I like providing solutions because that's a result. And
mm,
so I mastered, let's find solutions, right? And so that's what life is for me.
mm,
Providing solutions or seeing things before they happen, right? So that I can create the solution for something that maybe doesn't even exist yet.
mm.
And all of you have that ability. And maybe it's not solution providing. Maybe we've got gamers in here. I see it, right? Master gaming. You can make money gaming, right? My youngest son does that, right? Find something that you're passionate about and master it. That's the M. The I is your imagination, right? So you've mastered something. Now, where can this take you? What can this do for you? Imagination becomes your roadmap, right? It's 2024 going into 2025. There's so much innovation out there that if you can imagine it and that can become your roadmap, you're going to crush. And
Mm.
then the C is courage. So you've mastered something, you've got the roadmap. Now, courage is take the first step. So the 28-year-old me, I mastered solutions, I mastered insurance, right? I knew where insurance could take me with the vision that I had. I had to have the courage to say, I'm going to take this risk. I'm going to take this opportunity, right?
Mm.
That's courage. And then K, and this is the most powerful one, is keep going
Mhm.
because life is going to life. You're going to have obstacles. Anyone that tells you that it's easy is lying to you. You're going to face challenges. The path that you thought you were on is going to change. Are you going to quit or are you going to keep going? And that resiliency, again, when we talk about the gap between good and great being this, resiliency is
Oh,
what gets you up here. I
uh,
promise you. It's
Uh-huh.
gonna happen. I don't care who it is. Every week we face challenges and obstacles.
Mm.
And are we going to make the decision to push through? Because when you push through, you do become that much closer to greatness.
Man, oh, so good, guys. And guys, if you start getting some questions out, men and the young men, go ahead and start throwing hands up. I'm going to start bringing you guys in. Um,
Right.
I'll start bringing you guys in now. So start getting your hands up. Well, I will love what you just said. That keep going. When I was with Alex and Layla Hormozy a few weeks ago, I was talking to Layla and she said something that I love. She goes, "It's interesting." She said, as entrepreneurs, we understand that we've got to be able to keep going. A lot of times it is a game about lasting, right? And that the business we thought we were going to have when we first started it inherently ends up looking slightly different than we thought it would, just because the challenges and the obstacles and all the things we have to overcome. And so it can slightly vary. She says, but what's funny is that if you're not an entrepreneur, a lot of times you have this vision that you're going to create this business. It's going to go, even if it's a business you get to sell for 15 million, and that means there's no fires. She goes, no, there's more fires. I just now have to learn to differentiate, okay, which one's the house fire and which ones are the dumpster fires. I'll just
Right.
put out the house fire and let the dumpster fires keep going. And
There
then
you
one of
go.
those is going to turn into a house fire, and then I'll focus on that. Other dumpster fires are still like that's the way it actually goes, which is why most people quit.
Correct.
And that's why they don't get to great.
That's that's it.
And
That's it.
man. All right, let's get some of these handsome gentlemen in. Mr. Malachi Smith. Boom. You're in there, sir.
Thank you, sir, for coming on. I appreciate it. I appreciate the compliment too at the beginning.
Yes,
That was a lot of
sir.
fun. But at the beginning of the call, you mentioned about like leadership and being a leader in today's world. That's something I want to do. I want to be a leader with my family. I want to be a leader with my friends at work, all these places. And
Yeah.
so I've been doing that, and I've found that in the relationships between me and the people I know, I oftentimes am the leader. But I always want to become better, and I always want to see like where am I failing. So from what you've seen either in your own life and other people's lives, what are some of the easiest pitfalls to fall into, or like the most common mistakes that a leader will make that messes them up or will inhibit them from being the best they can?
Question.
Yeah, that's a great question, Malachi. One, and I appreciate you asking that. Here's a big pitfall for leaders, and I'm talking leaders again, whether it's with your friends, with your community, whatever. Don't try to make popular decisions. Where I see leaders fail is I care about Matthew's feelings and I care about Malachi's feelings. So I'm going to make the decisions that appease those feelings. So Malachi, I want you to write this down. Standards over feelings.
Mm,
Always, always, always have standards for what you do and uphold those standards. Don't make popular decisions. Make the right decision. It's actually easier to make the right decision, but what people usually choose are their feelings or the perceived feelings or the perceived ideals of others.
mm.
Make decisions based on your standards and make the right decision because, and I'm sure Matthew can tell you,
Powerful.
making the right decision saves you a lot of time in the future. Because
Sir.
when you're correcting the wrong decision that you made and you knew that it was the wrong decision,
Mm,
it's a time suck, complete
mm,
time suck.
mm. Man,
Thank you,
that's
sir. I appreciate. I wrote it down. I got that saved. I'll keep it in my notebook of all my quotes and lessons. So thank you, sir.
yeah,
You got it.
hold that one. That's a good one, Malachi. It's a great question. And yeah, it's so, one of my favorites, I mention him a lot on this show, is Naval Ravikant. He says, if you want to make the wrong decision, ask everyone. And I really like that. And I think that falls into the same category. If you want to make the wrong decision, base it upon everybody else's feelings too. I
Right.
think that's 100% the way, because you can't possibly appease this person and appease this person who are wanting polar opposite things, and you're trying to appease them both. And what ends up happening is exactly what you said. It's a time suck, because now you got to go back and correct this, correct this. They're still, now they're both pissed, and you didn't move forward at all.
Exactly.
Bueno.
Exactly.
Mr. Warner. Uh-oh. Hope he's not bringing the fight.
Yeah, we're not fighting, Charlie.
We're not fighting. We take that off the table, Charlie. We were just kidding.
All right. So thank you for coming on the call today.
Yes.
Um, My question is, so earlier you talked about how you had to eliminate some people that were in your circle so you could create the future that you wanted.
Yep.
How did you eliminate them? Did you like stop hanging out with them, or did you let them know like, hey, for my future, this isn't kind of work, like I don't want to be that person that you're turning into, or how did you do that?
Great
Yeah,
question.
great
Oh,
question, Charlie. And I get that question a lot from adults,
yes,
Charlie.
sir.
So I love the fact that you asked that, and hopefully you implement this. So there's a couple of things that I do, Charlie. I'm going to come back and answer that question for you. So I go through a what I call a circle check 2 times a year, right? Because as your life evolves and changes and people's lives evolve and change, you should always look at your circle. And it doesn't mean that 2 times a year I eliminate or add to my circle. I just do a circle check twice a year to make sure that the person that I am today, the place that I'm trying to go tomorrow, my friends or my circle has that same thing because I want to be pushed by my circle, right? I want to be challenged by my circle. So I do that a couple of times a year. And here's the thing, Charlie, and I'm going direct to your question. It depends on who those people are or those entities are. Some people, yeah, it is a conversation. Hey, this is where life is going, and we're not on the same path. Doesn't mean we can't be friends, but like I'm not going to invite you to everything that I do, or there are aspects of my life that you won't see. And it's okay to have that conversation, Charlie. Like it's totally okay to have that conversation. And there are some people, when you talk about your circle and your inner circle, it just means that maybe they're not in the inner circle. They just get removed one band outside of that. And so, you just don't tell them everything. One of my greatest things that I learned from my grandfather was moving in silence. My grandfather told me this, Charlie. When everyone knows what you have nothing. And when everyone knows where you're going, you'll never get there. Right.
Mhm.
And so maybe it just becomes people that you don't share the things that you have or the places that you're going or the vision. And again, they're still close, they're still your friends, but they're just not that inner circle. And you want to keep that inner circle as tight as you can because here's something that you're going to find out, Charlie. Everybody doesn't want you to win, right? There are a lot of people that want to see you fight to get to the top, but then once you're there, their whole mission is to bring you back down so you keep fighting. There's a lot of people that are patting you on the back and yeah, Charlie, you can do it. But then when you do it, those are the same people that are like, oh, well, look at Charlie. I remember when Charlie was a nobody. I remember when Charlie struggled with this. And those are the things that you learn about your circle. And so those are the people that you just slowly start to remove. And it's okay, Charlie, to have the conversation or to just move in silence and just keep moving along your path and not letting them know where you're going.
And oh man,
Hopefully that helps, Charlie.
some wisdom right there, Charlie.
Thank you, sir. That was a really awesome answer.
Appreciate you, Charlie. And no, we won't fight.
And no,
You'll
no,
be my
yeah,
partner.
we'll take that off the table. Yeah, it's brilliant. There's a lot of those win ifs. Like we want you to win if I'm right there
Right,
with you away. And as soon as there starts to be an element of separation, and I don't feel like I have the same amount of access to you or the same benefit in my own life because you're with come on back down here, right? It's the crabs in the bucket,
right,
sort of concept. Yeah,
right.
so good. Tug, let's get you in here, sir.
Yes, sir. Mr. Hunt, thank you so much for coming on this call today. I appreciate you sharing your time and your insight with us. I've already gleaned so much, and I apologize for having my camera off. I'm prepping for a race tomorrow,
You're
but
good.
I'm still here engaged and listening. I'm curious. So you've said 2 points that I feel kind of correlate, and I'd like you to touch on a little further if you wouldn't mind. First off being you feel that there's an absence or lack of leaders in the world, which I wholeheartedly agree with. And then secondly, talking about don't normalize that which isn't normal. So I feel like these two correlate in that culture has normalized the fact that we're not raising our young men and women to become leaders. And that's not normal. And in the entirety of history, it's not been normal up until like 100 years ago. So how would you say we could best combat that as a whole? I know you're talking about personally, you've got your pillars and you've got these
Mhm.
things, you're making promises to other people, and we can combat it that way. But as a whole, cultural epidemic, how do you feel would be the best steps to begin taking to reverse this normalization of an absence of leaders?
Tug, I love that. And first, call me Mick, not Mr. Hunt. I'm Mick. We're family here, Tug.
Yes, sir.
Um, Great question and great diagnosis of that, because you're right. Like those two do correlate. And here's what I will tell you that I'm passionate about. And the first step to really creating leaders is creating communities, right?
Mm,
Because leaders need something to lead.
mm,
And so I'm really big on creating circles of communities. And again, it doesn't have to be business, it can be friends, it can be in the physical community that you live in. You're talking about a race. I'm sure that you have a racing community. Lead those, be the leaders in those, have conversations, talk about leadership, right? Again, when I was growing up, when Matthew was growing up, leadership was the biggest topic, right? Like now we're into more self-help than anything, and how to blog and social media, like those are the things, right? Self-help, blogging, Instagram famous, whatever. When I was growing up, it was leadership. You could go into any bookstore and there'd be 5 million books on leadership. The sad part, Tug, is those same books are the same popular books today, 30, 40 years later. And that's why I'm very passionate about leadership, because I just feel like we don't have visibility. It's okay to say I'm a leader, right? You don't have to want to be popular. Just be a leader. So Tug, what I'll tell you is create communities and lead within those communities.
really good.
Yes, sir. That's an incredible answer. I love that. Super insightful. Thank you. Appreciate your time.
And another
Great
insight
question.
too, I mean, what we tend to do is we again, as a species, as a culture, we tend to swing pendulums without understanding that sometimes a universal truth lands somewhere in the middle. And so we'll go from an authoritarian, just blind obedience, beat down kind of thing to go, no, 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 that's not what leadership is. And it's not. You don't do that, right? You want to inspire. And so we go so far the other way where it's like laissez-faire, and you'll figure out how to be a leader if we just tell you yes when you're two, to every, right? So like we miss the boat sometimes because we just go too far the other way past the boat. And that's just, we tend to swing those pendulums. How far is that race tomorrow, Tug? Just throwing it out there.
Next one's 100 miles.
100 miles. Yeah. And that's on your feet, not on a bike.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Yeah. That's the
And
way, that's the way Tug rolls.
Matt, I want to add to what you and Mick were just saying. Like, be a leader, but also be ready to accept and experience the challenges that comes with being a leader, right? Because not everybody wants you to necessarily be that leader, but everybody wants to complain and everybody wants to have a solution and an opinion and everything else. And it's like, hey, cool, great. Like, I'd love to, right? I'd love to hear your opinions, right? And then you ask them, yeah, let's put something together. Let's take leadership and ownership of that. Oh well, I'm busy. Oh well, right? And then back to the crab in the bucket thing. But yeah, absolutely, to Mick's point, yeah, be a leader, but also that comes with challenges, and everyone's going to have an opinion, and everyone's going to start thinking differently of you the moment that you step up.
Better believe it. Oh, Mr. Seaver. Good to see you, sir.
Thank you, sir, for coming on the call today. What would you define as maturity?
Ooh, I've never been asked that question,
That's a good
Mr. Seaver. That's a great question. What I would define maturity, and it's something I've said numerous times, is making the right decisions, right? Like I can't stress enough decision making being the key to what we do. You're not always going to make the right decision, but if your focus is to make right decisions and good decisions, to me that's the ultimate sign of maturity, is making the right decisions.
Mhm.
Great question, dude. That's an awesome question.
Mhm.
Thank you,
Love it.
sir. That's an awesome answer. That definitely applies to me because I'm also like, I used to struggle a lot and I still do sometimes with like indecisiveness. So I'm just trying to focus better on more concise decisions and better ones. So thank you.
I love it. I love it.
Good for you. And add that urgency, Tate, that we were talking about earlier, right? Putting that urgency around it, because part of making the right decisions, the first step is kind of like the whole good to great thing, right? The first step is getting used to making decisions in the first place,
Yeah.
right? Being intentional about making a decision is the first step. And then what happens is over time, you end up honing that. you hone that skill so that eventually you're making the right decision more often than not, and you're making it faster and not having to deliberate in your mind so much too. So good on you, sir.
Yeah, that's a great question, right? Because when you think about people that we define as immature, and it's not an age thing, why do we say that they're immature? It's usually decisions and actions.
That's right.
Right. So if that's immaturity, then maturity is the opposite. Good decisions with intentional actions.
Bingo.
Yeah.
Levi, let's get you in here, sir.
Hey Mick, thanks for coming on the call. It's been really
Absolutely,
cool.
Levi.
My question is about what you said about keep going. Do you have a system of how you keep yourself accountable and to keep going?
Yeah, Levi, this is what I want you to do. And this is what especially when I talk to young men and older men, is do a daily journal. And you don't have to write paragraphs, right? But I asked myself a few things. One, was today a good day? Right? And don't lie to yourself. Every day's not a good day, right? But was today a good day? Right? Did I fulfill my because today? Right? Whatever your purpose is, whatever your because is, and it changes, but did I fulfill it? Was I the best version of myself today? Right? What obstacles did I face today? And Levi, that's where the keep going happens. Right? What am I going to do about
it? That self check-in right there, Levi. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So don't be afraid to write, Levi, right? Like it's daily reflections. And as you become a leader, Levi, I'm going to say you should also then do weekly reflections, right? So what did I learn this week? What did I overcome? What was a win this week? Right? And keep building on that. Again, you don't have to write paragraphs. You don't have to write novels. But that's how I hold myself accountable, is by writing it down. If I don't write it down, I can't hold myself accountable to anything.
I love it, man. And that, and gentlemen, we've spoken about the difference between what school says writing is for, which is some sort of an assignment or an essay, versus what life requires. And that writing piece, sometimes it's to get the chaos out of your mind. Sometimes it's to communicate a very clear message to somebody else. And sometimes it is that self-accountability piece right there, just laid out. It is a message to yourself, because ultimately the maturity thing and understanding to keep going, that's a message. It's a conversation you're having with yourself, Levi. At the end of the day, it's the conversation you're having with yourself of, this is the decision I need to make. This is the right decision, whether I feel like it or not. Standards over feelings. What he said earlier, it applies to ourselves first as the leaders, right? Standards.
That's it.
Yeah. Thank you.
Sir, it's a good question. Mr. Beckett Wells.
Beckett has family in Greer, South Carolina, he told me. Beckett, I'm like 25 minutes away from your family, brother.
Greer, all right.
Yes, sir. Every time I go to my grandparents' house in Greer, we always stop by Greenville and go downtown and do stuff.
There you go. I like it.
Thank you for coming on this call. I love your point of like the Mick and how you've like defined it. I just really enjoy that. But if you had to choose one of those words to define your life, which one would it be out of the four?
Definitely mastery. I believe in mastering something. Again, you can't get good at something until you master it, right? So the key to everything is mastery, Beckett. So what are you passionate about? What do you love? What are you looking to learn? Mastery keeps you innovative, right? The world is always changing. New things are happening. AI is changing every day, right? Master something to stay relevant. Master something to stay focused. Master something to create a legacy.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much.
Oh, it's so good. And I love that you brought up the AI point too, because I've spoken to a lot of people lately, and Beckett, I want you to think about this, that have gone, well, hey man, the world is changing so fast that I don't ever actually have time to master anything. I'm just trying to keep up with the news. No. you master something, and then the innovations make sense to you. And then you can
Right.
see how to utilize the innovation, right? The reason it seems like it's going so fast and you might as well just try to keep up is because you haven't actually taken the time to master anything. Because then those little innovations are just little tweaks in the games. That mastery matters, man. Always has, always will.
Absolutely.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Good, great question, Becca. Hey, and the next time you're in Greer, make sure you reach out to me. I'll come see you.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yes, sir.
Love it. Mr. Wellens.
Hey, Mick, first off, thanks for everything you do, man. Thanks for being here. Thanks for taking your time, and what a phenomenal story. And I want to ask because as a lot of us that have been a little bit further down the road are looking back and reflecting where do certain things come from. Your amazing story of like identifying at the age of 10, this isn't right. Things need to change. You somewhat took on that responsibility, or very much 100%, right? And so, was there a point in your life where 20-year-old you, 25-year-old you, 30-year-old, 40, whatever, had to circle back around and talk to 10-year-old two and be like, hey, what happened wasn't okay. I shouldn't have had to carry that backpack, and I did, right? Were there certain skills that you developed to get yourself through that situation as 10-year-old you, 12-year-old you, 15, and going forward, that were then starting to impact you a little bit later as you got older, because that's how you were used to doing things. But now that you have, and I don't, forgive me, are you married and kids?
I am married with children, yes.
Right. So are there certain things that now you circle back, that things that you were doing when you were younger to get you through that part of your life that now you had to change because now you have your own family and now you have a wife and kids, and they're like, Dad, this isn't working, or honey, this isn't working. You're like, yeah, I'm sorry. That's what I had to do, growing up, because this is where I came from. Right. So did you have to circle back and kind of reconcile that and address that and tell 10-year-old hey, you can go play now, and like, you don't have to carry that backpack anymore, and I'm good?
Dude, Jeremy, that is so awesome and such a great question, because it makes me reflect, and you're 100% correct. Not that I would ever go back and change anything. I wouldn't change at all, right? Like, because when you can't, so I don't take my place to things that I can't do, right? So I can't change anything. But I do look back a lot, and I can tell you, I had so much tunnel vision from the age of 10 to 25 that I had blinders on, and I probably didn't accept people a lot, right? Like, because Jeremy, I had to make life different from my mom. And so I didn't care, honestly, what my friends thought. I didn't care a lot of what my family thought. And that wasn't the right thing to do, right? But it's what I had to do at the time. So I had to learn to accept people. And it was, even to this day, like, you could call it a great strength or a great weakness. I don't trust people, right? Like, and I say that, and it sounds horrible to say it out loud. I don't mean it in that sense. Like, I love people. I'm a people person, but I have a wall, right? And that was hard. And I didn't have, I mean, I'm going to say it this way. I didn't have fun as a kid, right? So having kids, I had to create fun and learn what fun was, and understand and accept, yeah, like, my kids want to go to the park. My kids want to go shoot hoops. My kids aren't ultra competitive like I was, because I had to find a way out, right? They just enjoyed being on the basketball team or the football team, or my daughter just enjoyed cheerleading, where my thing was I have to be the best on the team, right? Mm-hmm. So I had to learn, Jeremy, that it's okay to not have that, what I call that dog mentality. Like, it's okay for my kids to not have that. It's okay for me as an adult to let people in, because those are things that the 10-year-old, the 13-year-old up until 25, I didn't do, right? I didn't have fun because fun was not keeping a promise, right? I didn't trust people because that was going to be a distraction from keeping a promise. But those are things that I learned and matured later in life to accept. So, Jeremy, great question. I've never said that out loud before.
Yeah, well, no, I mean, and I bring that up because I think that's something everyone kind of goes through, and it takes a little bit of that looking back in the past and kind of recognizing that, right? Like your experiences are not going to be the same experiences your kids are having, right? But sometimes we put that
Right.
on them, or sometimes it's, hey, I need to remember that it's not my daughter. My daughter, her name is Thea. It's not Thea's job to make sure dad's okay. It's not Thea's job to make sure the
Right.
family is in good working order. But sometimes, again, you find yourself like you did in that situation where you're like, well, nobody else is going to fix it. And then you end up wearing that backpack and that responsibility, which no child should have to do. And I applaud you for coming out the other side of that. And then thank you, because here you are today sharing your story with these young men. So thank you.
Jeremy, I appreciate that, man.
Awesome, man. So good. Man, I relate to so much of that. So much of that. Maddie, we'll get you the last question, then we're going to do right by Mr. Hunt and make sure people know where to go and all that good stuff. Let's bring you.
Sounds good, Mick. Thank you so much. This has been great. I just have a two-part question for you, and it's a personal. They're both personal. So the first one is, I also had two successful exits, not quite as large as yours, unfortunately. Otherwise, I'd be living in philanthropy world. But when you made your first successful exit and maybe your second, were they in the same industry? And if not, how did you know what industry you wanted to pivot to? And I'll follow that up because you might tie it all together is, how do you know, I read a lot of books because of the Apogee program. And one of the things you said is, find something to master. I love that. I believe in that too. But what is it? Maybe how do you find what to master? Right. So there's so many things on this planet to do. How do you find that thing that you want to master?
Yeah. So great questions, Matt. To answer the first part, my exits were within the same industry of insurance. One was an agency, one was more of a insure technology company. But same industry, different products. So, when we talk about how did I find that thing, right? So after I had the second exit and I wanted to focus more on leadership development, I just found that was a challenge in, I'm going to say society, that sounds broad, so I'll bring it in. That was a challenge within my community, right? Like I just saw leadership as a thing that when I asked my kids, who's a good leader, they couldn't say anything, and that hurt me. Like that literally hurt my core. It probably hurt me more that they didn't say dad, but it hurt me to my core that they didn't even name a president. They didn't name a war general. Like the things that growing up, I'm sure, Matt, you too, right? Like you could have named a good leader. But I bet if I were to ask Billy or Charlie, who's a good leader, they probably will name their parents. That's probably it. Principals in schools aren't even good leaders. Like we were definitely afraid of our principals, right? But they were good leaders. And when our principals knew our names, it was something that meant something, right? Like good or bad. And so, Matt, what I realized was, because I was able to have successful exits, going back into what made those exits successful wasn't Mick. It was the teams that I created and the leaders that I developed. And I said, that's what I love doing. I love creating leaders. And so then the business aspect of that is, how do I take a passion that I know that I feel I'm really good at, continue to master it, so now I can build out true leadership programs and leadership strategies and help businesses do that, help communities do that. And now the economic side is, now how can I make that a profitable business? Right. And so that's what I would say, Matt, is it's great to solve problems or to provide solutions. But at the end of the day, can that also be financially rewarding? And I don't mean millions of dollars or whatever, but can you put food on the table with the passion that you have? And today, I'm going to challenge all of you. I don't care what it is. The answer to that is yes, right? But are you willing to go down deep instead of going out broad? And that's what, to me, Matt, that's what mastery is. It's going deeper into that thing. But it's what I said earlier, Matt. You've got to love it, because if you don't love it, it's going to be easier to stop or to quit. And that's why a lot of businesses fail or don't get started, is because they realize they don't truly love it. They love what the potential reward could have been, but they didn't love the thing that was going to provide that reward.
So what you loved was the mastery in the strategy and the business and developing others around you. It wasn't necessarily the insurance itself.
Correct. Correct. It wasn't insurance. What I loved was developing. What I loved was, how do I go from here to here, right? Like, what's that strategy? What's that roadmap? And again, one of the things that I learned early on was leadership was not about me, right? So if we say, what's the lesson that I learned? Early Mick, young Mick, thought leadership was about me. I thought it was about, I should take credit for everything, right? Like, this happened because of me. But what I realized really quickly was it wasn't that. It wasn't that at all. It was about the team. It was about the people. And so I started rewarding the people in the journey and then developing the people, because now my business was scaling, not because of a single thing that I did, right? It was all the great minds that I helped nurture, and the great minds that could take the business from A to B. Like, that's what it was about.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Great questions, Matt.
Yeah. Good stuff. Good stuff, Maddie. I got to tell you, Mick, this has been one of my favorites. We get to do this every week. You know, we get to do this with our men, with our women, with our young men, with our young ladies. We get to do it with our home education families. We get to host the best minds on the planet and have these conversations, man. And there's just and maybe this is just because there's so much that resonates with my own journey, and I don't know what it, but you articulate it very well, man. You are clearly talking about something that you are doing, which to me is evidence of a good human being too. You're not speaking about something you haven't done and aren't doing. And
Yeah.
leadership is that thing, man. And we do need more leaders, and I'm grateful for you leading the way you are. As we're going to put this out, obviously we'll put it in our internal groups, and then we'll get it out here within the next couple of weeks to go out to our audience as well. I want to make sure we do right by you on where you'd have people go to find out what you're building, what you're doing, what is the thing you're most excited about that you've got going on right now, because I want to make sure we're pushing people that way. And then after that, the final question on our side is, how does Apogee support you and your family and the Hunt crew, man? That's the most important thing. So those are the final ones.
Yeah, I'll answer the last one first. Supporting me, let's just continue to be family, man. And I mean this from my soul for everybody that's on this call. I'm available. Like, reach out to me. You need a mentor, you need someone to bounce ideas off of, or to just do what I call a check up from the neck up. Right? When life starts life and you just need a buddy, I'm there. Right? Like, I love being a friend and a mentor more than anything else in the world. So that's how we support each other, man. Like, just whenever you need me, I'm here. And that's for everybody, right? Like, I'm here. I'll just say that. What do I have going on? So Mick Hunt Official is my website. So you can see, and I actually just rebranded it like this week, Matt. So Mick Hunt Official is the website to all things leadership. What am I, and leadership and podcasts and all that stuff is there, but what am I working on? I'm in the process of building an AI digital twin of myself that has all of my intellectual property, conversations that I've had unpublished with Les Brown and Damon, like all of my mentors, access to that, so that 24/7 you can talk to my leadership twin and ask it questions and all that. So probably in the next week, I'm going to release that to the public. Matt, what I'll do is I'll have a forever free version that I'll give to you and your family, everybody on the call, and the other communities that you have, just because, again, if I can give back, I want to give back.
My man. Oh, so rad. It is one of the things we are building out within our affiliate network too, is, again, for better or for worse, the ugly twin of this right here, answering education questions and doing the same. So again, so many parallels, man. I love it. More importantly, I just love how you show up in the world, man. Good human. And I mean, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take these guys through a debrief here in the next half hour, and then roll into the last few meetings of the day. But I'm gonna shoot you a message in a little bit too. I'm just gonna make sure you got my cell, and I mean it, man. Bring the family over here to the farm. We don't even have to wrestle any goats, man. We can just have a good meal and hang out. So unless you feel like
I'm there,
goats, and then we're down to do that too. So, but
I'm a country boy too. Don't let it fool you. I'm a country boy.
I have that, yeah, not a doubt in my mind. My friend, so grateful. Grateful for all of it. Grateful for the time, grateful for the work. And I look forward to keeping the conversation going, man, truly.
I appreciate you all. Thank you all